G'day and welcome back to RC Model Review. Something pretty exciting for you today. I've got a speed controller. Well, how can speed controllers be exciting? Well, this is the new offering from DALRC. It is something they call the Engine 40 amp 4-in-1 ESC. Now, I've never really been a fan of 4-in-1s because if you blow an ESC, well, you've got to build a tricopter. You know, if one of the four fails, you've got three, so tricopters are all you can build. No one builds tricopters anymore. I don't know why that is. But this is the 4-in-1, and I must say, though, that they are really convenient. When you're building a stack, having all the ESCs in one place, really kind of cool. And this is quite a full-featured ESC. I'll run through some of the specs for you. It's got 32-bit controllers, so there's STM F0 processors in there, which means it's got plenty of processing speed. Runs BL Heli 32, and it'll do D-Shot 300 through 1200. And some of the extra selling features, I suppose, that they're claiming for this thing are that it's got a wad of low ESR capacitors on board. And let me show it to you. Look, it looks like nothing that you've seen on the 4-in-1 scene before, really. But it's got low ESR caps. It's got 55 low ESR caps. What's low ESR? Well, that's the effective series resistance. When we're talking about trying to filter power, really it's just the quality, it's just the performance of the capacitor. So the lower the ESR, the better they perform. They claim it's got super low ESR caps. So this means that you won't get so much noise on your battery line, which is really important, because if you get a noisy battery feed, if your battery LiPo feed is noisy, then you get trouble with your video system. You need to put lines and patterning and all sorts of stuff. So this apparently has got enough filtering to make that a thing of the past, which is kind of good. Also, it's got a BEC on it, a 5-volt BEC at 3 amps. 3 amps. I can't imagine why you would need a 3 amp BEC on a miniquad, but it's got it if you need it. Okay, bit of overkill. It has regenerative braking. Now, they don't really go into much depth on what regenerative braking is, but the way I read it is when your motors are braking, it's putting the power back into the battery. Is it? I don't know. I would kind of doubt it, because the amount of inertia involved, the amount of power that goes back into your battery would be pretty minimal. I don't think it would justify all the extra work involved in producing a regenerative braking back path to the battery. So I wonder if that's not just a bit of marketing speak. But hey, we'll find out. I might do some testing on that just to see whether it does have true regenerative braking or whether it's just a bit of hype. Anyway, what else? It'll run 5 cells, and it's 40 amps continuous per ESC with a maximum rating of 50 amps burst for 10 seconds. Now, mini-quads are getting more and more powerful. We started with 1806 motors, went to 2204s, then 2205s, now 2206s. I've even run them with 2207s. And as we go up and put 3-bladed props on, load them up more with more pitch, they start to draw a lot of power. And you might think, yeah, but gosh, you check it out, 25 amps is heaps. Yeah, maybe it's heaps, but the beauty of having a high current ESC is that it usually has a lower turn-on resistance. What that means is less of the power, the more current the ESC can deliver, less of the power is consumed in making it get warm. So I think you'll see people have said that, hey, a 6S ESC works better than a 4S one, and high current ESCs generally produce a better result than low current ones. And we'll find out, because this is a 5S 40 amp ESC, and it has an onboard current sensor as well, so you can hook that up to your flight controller. Your flight controller doesn't need its own current sensor. This has one on board. Kind of cool, really. Let's take it out of the bag, the box, the whatever. Has this port here, which is apparently compatible with most flight controllers. Is it? Okay. I don't know. And it's designed, it comes with these little rubber mounting feet. Look at this. So just take this rest of this crap out of here. You get a low ESR capacitor as well. This should be a Rubicon capacitor. Now, Rubicon are a really good brand. Is it a Rubicon? They say it is. What does it say on the capacitor? I'll have to look through the camera on this one. I can't actually read without my reading glasses. Where's the writing? Where's the writing? Yes, I think. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I think it's a Rubicon. I'll reach for my reading glasses. Oh, I hate getting old. Trust me, if you can avoid it, don't get old. Don't get old. Stay young forever. What does this say? What does it say? Is it a Rubicon? Turning it over. Where's the writing? Where's the branding? Yeah, it's a Rubicon. So that's good. That's a high quality capacitor. Again, going back to that ESR I was talking about before, cheapy generic branded capacitors generally have very poor effective series resistance. So this is going to be filtering the power a lot more effectively. Of course, you'll put this possibly across your, whoops, take my hand out of the way, possibly across these terminals where the battery goes on. It doesn't really say much. In fact, let's have a look. It does have a little, no, here are the instructions. Oh, no, it does open up. Look. Here are the instructions. Woohoo. Obviously, there's a lot more online. But if you want to see, there you go. You can freeze this if you're in HD. You can read all that. And we go down there. There's the wiring connection. You can read all that. Looks fairly straightforward. And that's all you get. But as well as the 4-in-1 speed controller, you get that low ESR cap, you get some mounting hardware. Not often you get mounting hardware with an ESC, so it's kind of cool. There's 4 posts and things. And see these little rubber things, designed for shock mounting. Why would you shock mount your ESC? I suppose, if you think about it, it's as likely to get damaged in a hard crash as anything. So these little rubber things come out. And as you will see, if you go to the website, there's a link in the description of this video. Go and have a look at the DALRC website. You'll find more information, and you'll be able to see some of the stuff that I might have forgotten to tell you. Then we've got a lead here, which is basically just plugs into the end of the 4-in-1 ESC, goes off to your flight controller. Now, how many of us still use servo connectors on our flight controllers? Everyone hardwires it, so you're probably going to chop these off and solder them directly to your flight controller. Just saves weight. And speaking of weight, that's a really important thing, because you know, weight makes a big difference in miniquad performance, endurance, and flying characteristics. So let me just pull out a bit here and get some focus back on the old scene. They say it weighs 16 grams. Are they telling the truth? Well, I have these scales that don't show the blood, and we're going to find out. Ta-da! Bets, please, ladies and gentlemen. Woo, that's pretty good. It's just under 16 grams, I think. And if you throw in the cable thing, it goes up to 17. So yeah, they're pretty right on the money. 16 grams. Now that 16 grams, I suppose it's not too bad, because individual ESCs probably weigh more than 4 grams each. And remember, as well as the actual ESCs, the 32-bit ESCs, you are getting some really low ESR capacitors and a current shunt for your current sensing for your flight controller. So certainly on paper, and just looking at it, let's take a close-up look at this. Let's have a look at the design of this thing. But certainly on paper, you're getting something pretty cool. Right, here we go. There she is. Let's take a look around the speed control. You can see we've got 4 of these 32-bit processors. Now, they're pretty wimpy 32-bit processors, but certainly streets ahead of the Atmel processors that used to be in the old ESC. Still got heaps of grunt for what we're doing, because it's not that onerous a task actually making an ESC work. So these are more than enough. It says it'll run up to 48 kilohertz, which is heaps. Right, now if we look here, you can see these are the low ESR capacitors they're talking about here, and there's some more hidden under the QC pass sticker, which we will remove so we can have a proper look, because just to make sure they didn't, I could put the sticker on something else that's not quite so good, and then we'd have a much better product. There we go. So yeah, that's interesting. So we've got these low ESR capacitors, and maybe some more on the other side, and there's a couple, and there's an inductor, because it's got a, as I say, it's got a 3 amp 5 volt BEC, so that'll be the little inductor that's used for the BEC. Construction wise, it looks okay. These packs here, these quad packs, I'm never really happy with, because they always look a bit crappy around the edges where they solder on, because they don't have legs coming out. There's actually little solder pads and little balls underneath. And you know, they're an interesting package, but not one I prefer to work with. But in mass production, that's just fine. Let's flip it over. But you can see, you can't see anything here because we've got this big heatsink on there, and you can see, well, I'll probably see some, no, you can't see anything. So you can't, I'm not going to rip that off, because I trust them. In fact, there's pictures on the DALRC website, I think, without the top on. So if you want to see what it looks like without the top on, go there, because I don't want to bugger this before I've actually had a chance to test it. But there you go. Now, I will be putting this in. I'm building a new quad for myself, which is going to be, most of my quads, you know, I've fallen in love with a few of them, and I just fly them to bits. But I'm building a brand new one with latest spec motors. I'll use this ESC, a F4, F7 flight controller. So it's going to be pretty top spec, so that I can make sure that I'm using the latest stuff. It'll be very interesting to see how this performs. I'm not a fantastic mini quad flyer. I'm a Team Nana. But again, most of the people who are going to be buying this stuff are Team Nana types, or probably better than me, but you know, they're not the Mr. Steels or the Chad Nowak or whatevers. They are, you know, good, but not super good. So I'll be giving you a technical breakdown. We'll look at it. I want to see if that regenerative braking is truly regenerative. So I'll set a jig up for that. That's going to be interesting. And we'll also look at the just how it feels, how it flies, and whether it actually handles 40 amps. I may blow it up. You never know, because we'll test it out. If it's rated 40 amps, it should deliver 40 amps, especially with a 50 amp burst rating. So there you go. That's it just arrived the other day, actually. So it's a brand new. Quick look at it. It is the DALRC Engine 40 amp 4-in-1 ESC. If you've got questions, comments, put them in the usual place. This will be, I hope to have my quad finished next week. So probably about New Year, you should get some more info on this thing. Now, the weather is actually fine today. Woohoo! So I'm going to nip outside and try and finish that 2.4 gigahertz antenna test video with some practical in-field comparisons, so that we can see if those antenna links make any difference. But as I say, link in the description to the DALRC website, where you can have a look and see the extra specs and a little bit more information. And thanks for watching. Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye for now.